flights with Pullman Hotels, partners of all your travels.
And for that, Aurore Dupuis is right here in the studio now. Good morning, Aurore.
Good morning, Marcus.
Now we're going to start with this extraordinary story in the United States, the Russian spy ring.
Yes, exactly. 10 spy suspects in America have been traded for 4 prisoners convicted in Russia. Now, the LA Times describes a day at the federal court in New York, right before the suspects fled to Moscow. The paper describes the hearing as a TV show, a courtroom drama. The alleged spies walked in, some were wearing jail clothes, others were handcuffed, and the femme fatale, if you can remember Anna Chapman, as she's been described, kept playing with her hair, according to the paper.
Flame-haired beauty, as people are calling her at this stage.
Yes, exactly. Well, they all got to meet the judge, and the judge asked them all their names. And the first defendant asked the judge, well, which one? Because, as you know, most of them have fake identities. Now, these people allegedly led normal, ordinary lives in the States, in America, but they're accused of working for the Russian intelligence.
It's called deep cover, right?
Deep cover agents.
We've been hearing about that in the past few days, haven't we?
Yes, exactly. Well, they all pleaded guilty and then took off to Moscow. Now, let's take a look at the front page of MK. It's a Russian newspaper, and it's actually quite an ironic front page there. The nation greets its heroes. Note that the word heroes is in quotation marks. Russia never lets its people down, says the newspaper. And it's actually talking to the return of Anna Chapman, so this femme fatale, and the return of a man called Pletnev. Now, he's a Russian musician accused of raping a young teenage boy back in Thailand, and the Russian state has paid for his bailout, so he's also returning to Russia. So basically, the Russian paper is saying, well, we're welcoming, greeting all those, quotes, heroes.
Now, one of the main question marks at this stage is how they're going to live from now on, the 10 Russian agents. They had to leave their lives behind. And the Washington Post, they've got an article on that.
Exactly. They're talking about previous agents who came back to Russia. And according to the paper, it's a tradition for the Kremlin to honor its secret agents. Now, the paper explains that during the Cold War, spies who returned home are actually greeted like national heroes. One of them received a brand new car and a villa. Now, the paper says that these 10 suspects will end up posing for stamp designers rather than prison photographers. The most difficult thing for them, says the paper, is their psychological health. Many of their predecessors didn't agree with the regime in Russia. They didn't agree with the economic situation in the country. Some of them fell into drinking problems, and one of them actually ran away from Russia.
All right. At the same time, though, it needs to be added that some people are saying that maybe they won't be greeted as heroes, seeing that Russia perhaps want to sweep this underneath the carpet as quickly as possible, not to harm relations, diplomatic relations with the US. Now, another scandal, another controversy, this time in France.
This time in France, we're going to talk about the Bettencourt case, and it's been reported by the International Herald Tribune, which actually compares it to the French Watergate, except the would-be Woodwards and Bernstein this time work for the web rather than for a newspaper. Now, it's talking about the French media. The French media, as you know, Mediapart revealed this whole Bettencourt scandal linked allegedly to Nicolas Sarkozy. Now, it explains how French media works. According to the International Herald Tribune, papers like Le Figaro, for example, is owned by a French businessman, and Les Echos, the business newspaper, is owned by a Louis Vuitton boss. Now, there's a close relationship with business. So whereas Mediapart, according to the paper, only relies on prescriptions and no advertising. So therefore, it claims it's independent, and it has vowed that it will continue its investigative journalism, even though it's been described as an anti-Sarkozy media.
Absolutely. At the same time, it needs to be emphasized as well, though, perhaps, or highlighted, that some of these businesses, they have been accused of having too close links with power, basically, here in France.
Yes, exactly.
All right, next story for us.
Next story, still yet another scandal in Great Britain. This time it's on the front page of The Independent. It's a matter of honour, says the paper. Anger is growing because several peers have resigned from the House of Lords because they claimed non-dom status to avoid paying taxes. Well, now that they've resigned, many MPs want to strip them from their title. Some of them are called lords or barons, and MPs in England are saying, well, why should they keep their title if they've done, after what they've done? So in England, no peer has lost his title unless he's been accused of treason. So a bill is soon expected to be presented in front of Parliament, before Parliament, to discuss this issue.
All right, we don't have a lot of time left, but we're going to squeeze in one more story at the end.
Let's squeeze in the Washington Post. After Paul the Octopus, meet Marnie the Bird. He's in the Washington Post, and he also predicts the World Cup results.
Oh, this is to do with Paul the Psychic Octopus, who of course have been sort of predicting World Cup games, and he's always been right so far, hasn't he?
Well, I think he made a few mistakes over the past 2 years, but this bird has predicted all results for the quarterfinals and the semi-finals, whereas Paul the Octopus so far has only predicted German games. So this bird has predicted all of the games, and for the final on Sunday, which will see Spain play against Holland, well, Marnie the Bird has predicted that Holland will win.
All right. I personally hope so as well, but that's another story altogether. So basically, birds, they're more reliable than the mollusks.
Well, we'll see. We'll soon find out, because Paul the Octopus is also due to predict the final. So
All
we'll
right,
see.
Thanks very much, Aurore Dupuis. That was the Press Review.
You were watching In the Papers, presented by Pullman Hotels.
All right, it's time now to bring you